everyone, I am Andrea from Your Rewired Mind. I am a rapid transformational hypnotherapist, and that it basically is a program that is designed by the amazing Marisa Peer. But I'm not only that, I'm also an energetic healer. I am a neuroscience coach and a mindset alchemist. Basically, I take the lead or the weight or the negativity that holds within the body, that holds stress or dis-ease within the body and within the mind, and I flip your perspective on that. So we release what is no longer serving you so that you can have an amazing life ahead of you. Because the past, as we know, is in the past. We can't get it back. We can't change it. We can only change our feelings and our emotions towards how that made us feel. And a lot of the times, we go back to all of our trauma goes back to our childhood. Our childhood is under the age of 8, anywhere to even pre-birth in our mother's womb. We hold vibrational energy because during those ages, we are pure sponges. We are pure emotion. We don't have the critical thinking to understand our actions as a result of what happened. We also take on the feelings of everybody else. So we're put in our paths, parents, teachers, other kids, leaders of any kind. And these people's and their opinions and their emotions kind of imprint on us. So say you're playing in the sandbox one day and the sand is really hard. So you go home and you think about it. And next day you come back and you have some nails. So you can kind of dig into there because there's construction happening at your house. And you don't think anything of it. You just think, hey, I've got a tool. I can solve a problem. And so you're there and accidentally one of the other kids picks up this nail and scratches themselves. And the teacher comes in and says, who did this? Who brought these nails in? And you're like, oh, I did. We were trying to fix the problem kind of thing. And then the teacher looks at you and says, how could you be so stupid? How could you not think? Well, realistically, you're 4 years old. So you're just thinking, I solved the problem. Yay. But they're thinking and they're reacting, and then they're making you feel embarrassed in front of all your friends. They're making you feel that you're stupid or not worthy. And so you take that on. It's not the event of you taking the nails that was the problem. It's the event of the person's reaction to how and what you did. And then your internal compartmentalizing. And then that kind of feeds into it. So now you take a child that, say, doesn't understand that they have ADHD and they have RSD, which basically that their sensitivity is a lot higher. So they're going to actually fester that in their brain. They're going to make meaning out of it, make a lot of tie a lot of things together for the next thing that something happens. And their mind is going to go into protection mode. And it's going to say, as soon as something else happens and somebody comes at you with the same sort of tone or anything, the brain's going to be like, okay, just say you're sorry. Just stuff your feelings down. Or you're going to have a different kind of reaction, right? But those reactions get compounded over lifetimes. So then we end up fast forwarding so many years, we do something wrong. What's our first reaction? To hide. It's to sweep it under the table. It's to not be seen, not be heard. I won't do that again, That's not very unhealthy. So what we do in rapid transformational hypnotherapy is we get to the root, the reason, and the cause, which this could have been your reason, and then compounded through a couple of different events. So we rewitness scenes. And a lot of the times when we talk about the scenes in hypnosis, it's allowing their conscious critical state to be kind of shut off to the side for a little while and your truth state to come out, which is subconscious. 90% of our programming and our habits are stored in our subconscious. So basically it gives them a voice. It gives them the truth voice and not what your versions of the truth is. So it combines the hypnosis. It combines the CBT, the NLP. So we get actually in there, we see the story, we understand that, you know what, that wasn't really our fault. I was 4, you know? I could make better choices. I could now, as an adult, look at that little child and say, you know what, you're loving, you're safe, you're smart, you actually problem solved, you know, and a creative way that you did that. And then basically we heal that inner wounds. And by healing the inner child within us and releasing that, we actually start healing the adult child as well. We then say, is this really serving you? Is this necessary to have these feelings anymore? Are you ready to let this go? And in hypnosis, because it's in the subconscious, it's almost like we go into the neural connections within our brains, and that thought or that neuron that held that thought and held the cell vibration within our body starts to just fade away. Almost like when we know that we have to weed the garden. We know that we have to saw off that dead branch in order for new growth to happen. So that's what we do. And then we instill that recognized pattern of new belief. I do a transformational recording for you based on what you would love your life to be like. We kind of go through a lot of things prior to the session actually taking place and what your ideal life would be like. What words do you want to hear? Your words, not mine, because this is your session. I cannot understand what your exact way of thinking is, what your exact wording is, but you know this. So you tell me this ahead of time and I will put those into the recording. I will reinforce the fact that whatever came up in the scenes and that whatever we understand in those scenes is no longer relevant. It's no longer necessary, and it's erased, eradicated, and eliminated out of your conscious being, out of your cells in your body. You're letting it all go. You know, you're letting that tension, that hate, that embarrassment, whatever has come up for you, you're letting it go. So by doing that, we then actually look at life in a different, more positive way. And when we can do that, we have the tools then to interrupt when a trigger comes at us. So if a situation that basically would normally have triggered us, we can stop and be like, okay, have a trigger word, maybe change, relax, breathe, calm yourself, recenter, and say, no, my boundary is this. I understand how this could have affected me in the past, but it's no longer affecting me. I am not letting this into my world. So when you can stand in your own power and you know in your core what you want and what you actually feel and believe, that is such strength. It's almost like when you're taking, you look at like the superhumans, right? You look at superheroes, Marvel, or DC. Sorry, I have to be correct. My daughter's very at me with the whole comic thing. So you stand in that Superman pose or that Wonder Woman pose, and you hold that because you know in your core that you've released that way of thinking, and you're standing strong in who you are now. You're not letting other people's voices into your head to actually tell you negative things about yourself. And that is a wonderful way of actually showing up in the world. Your whole energy shifts. And as Tesla said back in the day, everything is vibration, everything is frequency, and everything is energy. And the words that we actually say to ourselves hold a specific vibration. So if we think negative thoughts, if we think destructive thoughts, if we are scared, or if we're in fight or flight, our brain responds to this. If we are in a constant state of fight or flight, our actual brain parts will actually shift and adapt to stay in that. Like your amygdala, your hippocampus, that actually shifts, and basically that's where complex PTSD comes from, or narcissistic abuse syndrome will come from, because it's our brain is actually being shifted. Our cortisol levels release and they go up, and we're constantly in that tension, so it's held in our body. So if we can actually start to release that tension and speak positive words to ourselves instead of having that person that is not good in your life, those negative words being like reinforced to you, then we can heal the darkness that is held within us or within a certain organ, because they can be healed. So problem being, when you are in that fight or flight, right, your cortisol levels like just go through the roof, and then it goes to every old trained cell in the body, almost like soldiers, and they're on guard and they start fighting, and the body creates tension, and that goes to every major organ in our body, like our heart, our lungs, our kidneys, everything is being processed through tension, and the cortisol levels are high, and all of the other like levels in our body are high, and so we are energetically completely out of balance. However, when we can recognize the pattern of how we got here, when we can release that trauma, because when we release it and when we witness in hypnosis, we're not actually looking at it from a place of tension. We're not actually looking at it and feeling it as it did when it happened, because it can't. We can no longer actually see, sorry, my cat's trying to jump up on me. We can no longer see that same tension within our body. We can no longer feel that same feeling within our body. And basically that way our body doesn't hold that tension anymore. We can re-witness it, but we can never re-feel it. We can never experience it again, because it is in the past and it has happened and it is gone, right? Oh, this is Ariel. You can try and control cats, but no. And did you know that their purr can actually heal bones? So having an animal in your house, especially a cat, can actually reinforce your trauma healing. But when you're in hypnosis, you are safe. I hold space for you. I hold the energy and the frequency for you to heal, and for you to understand, and for you to love yourself, because you are actually loving yourself so much. And you know that in order to love anyone else, you have to love yourself first. In order to be selfless, you have to be selfish first. So if you can come from a place of love within yourself, you can start to have a better life. You can start to change the lives of your children. Everything that you do and you shift energetically shifts everyone around you. So when you raise your vibration, you raise the vibration of the people around you. It's how the law works. Have you ever had a magnet where basically you hold the magnet up here and it's very strong and very powerful, and anything that down's here, it draws up, right? It's a law of magnetism. So when your energy is higher, anything lower frequency will raise. It's the whole meaning behind how Reiki works as well, how quantum touch works, which I'm also a quantum touch healer. So all I can say is this: when you release the trauma, you release the darkness within your body. You release the lead that's within our body, because our body is our vessel. Our spirit and our mind is our energy. So if our body is in a state of love and happiness and self-worth, then the negative has no space within it. See what I'm saying? If you feed your body good foods, if you exercise, if you do mindset exercises like sound baths, breath work, things like these all enhance your frequency. If you release the trauma, you've got nothing but positivity in the world, right? And or you have the ability to handle anything that gets thrown at you in a loving, positive light. So if you're a parent and you heal your own trauma, your children will then see that change and be like, maybe I should shift a little bit. And maybe they'll actually agree to having an RTT session, because you know what, sometimes we've carried our trauma from our parents. I know I have. And they carried it from theirs. And that's how basically dis-ease gets released in our genetic actual DNA. Our DNA carries the coding, But until it has a stress factor or an opening, then it just stays dormant, right? So we actually unlock those codes within ourselves. We actually can create the disease within ourselves. And if we've created it, we can uncreate it. And you have the power within you to actually heal it. You know that every time you cut your hand, it heals itself, right? Every time you break a bone, it takes time, but it can heal. And you have that power within you to heal. So take that moment to heal within you. Call me, I will help you. We will guide you through it. We will re-witness scenes like they're watching a TV. But you will never relive it because you can't. It's in the past. You want to live in the now, in the healthy mindset, a wonderful mindset, because you know that hurt people hurt other people, and healthy people heal themselves and they heal other people. So I hope this has kind of been an explanation of what RTT is. And if you would like to, please reach out to me at yourrewiredmind.com or on any social media platform at Your Rewired Mind. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.